just want to really hit this one hard because, why does it matter when you have so much else to do? When you're rolling out a solution, when you're building things, there's we just want to get building. We just want to get rolling out things. We just want to publish our content. We have less and less time. So why do we spend so much time up front with content architecture kind of looking at this? And I should have stopped myself there when I said up front. Content architecture is an ongoing thing. It's a living entity. So you build an initial kind of content architecture to get going, but you need to build it so you can evolve it over time. But actually, the end goal of content architecture is to save time, save costs, and retain staff, as funny as that sounds. We all know about the Great Resignation and people moving around. People just get stuck using systems they don't like, or they can't get their job done properly. They're not going to stick around. So why is content architecture just so critical, and what are the parts that make that up? Number one, it's just usability. So usability is critical. If you can't actually get your work done, what's the point of having a system at all? A content platform like this, the point of the system is to manage your content, is to update content, to publish content, to work with teammates, to collaborate, to bring things together, and to push them out. Things take way more time if they're not usable, if you can't get the job done. So really, it's kind of the point of the system, not just the features of a product, but it has to be easy to use. It has to be efficient. If you can't update your content quickly, someone else is. You're falling behind. So this is a big one, competitive wise. A good example. I hate to bring COVID up because everyone wants to avoid it and move forward, but you know what? There was a lot of learning from that. Some people moved really fast with it and adjusted. Other people got really stuck. This is not just the digital space, but specifically here. If you couldn't get a disclaimer saying my restaurant is closed, or we're moving to online orders, or whatever those things are, your next door neighbor was, and people looking for that service or that adjustment got that business. So you're falling behind if you can't keep up with your content, which is can't keep up with running your business in an informative way for your customers.
Just to give one little additional thing on this one, John, is I think that's when we encounter people for the first time, a lot of the time is I want to do it like they're doing it. I want to create the outputs that they're creating, which does put the end content and the end user as the first priority, the first thing you think about. And then we like to reverse engineer that and say, well, okay, who are the people that are going to be doing this on your team? And then we like to flip the story over. But a lot of the times people are thinking, I want to do it like, company ABC is doing it because I think, look at all the content that they're doing and this is great rhythm, that kind of thing.
Yeah, the question is, well, why aren't you doing it now? And it's probably because the back end and the way your systems are set up don't enable your team to do it, right? So another major reason is turnover. And I kind of mentioned this on the previous slide here. Generally, some of the big stats around turnover is around people being held back in their job, and not from people, but from inefficient tools and processes. They just can't perform the way they want to because they're being held back. So, usability, as crazy as it sounds, relate to actually retention of employees. And I've seen this where people have come and asked, evaluating our platform, and you could tell in their eyes they're just so frustrated, so stuck, so not enabled, and that's why they're looking for another platform. And it's sad to see that people have to start from scratch sometimes because they've let things get so bad and so behind. And if you do that right away, as you build more content, it just gets out of control. And I guess this slides to the next one. Just the amount of content and integrations in companies is increasing every year. We can only hold so much in our minds, and we need platforms to organize this. That's kind of the point of when Joel's talking about workflows, integrations, all these other platforms that orchestrate things together. The idea is you set those things up to do all these things for you. So you just focus on the content, the knowledge you have, and be able to use these platforms to be able to push things out. So they help you stay organized and organize your priorities and your use cases and things like that. And if it's not usable, you're spending the time trying to figure out how to do stuff more than you're doing stuff. So they help us stay organized and stay focused, really. And then the last thing is it's just easier and quicker to get your work done. You do better work, you have better collaboration, and you can move on to the next thing. It saves you time. It's all we need. We all need more time these days. Like every single person. I don't think I know anyone who says I have too much time. Like I wish I could say that sometimes. But usability slows you down. It wastes time. So it's just usability is critical. And content architecture, the point of it is to step back, look at the editors, look at the managers, look at the people within the content workflow, and make sure their job is easy.
And if I can just add another point onto that, John, is a good way to test this. I don't know sure if we talked about testing yet or if you're going to talk about it more, but a great way to test this is when a new member joins your team, what is the impressions that they have of your processes and your tools? And to take their feedback, that is potentially the most important feedback you're going to get from folks, because it's so honest and it's not jaded by any previous experience that they've had with you. It's only what they're bringing new to their role. And if things don't make sense to them, this is a great opportunity to kind of tweak and adjust that and evolve your content architecture to make it more usable.
I love that. And the crazy thing is we see it all the time. So when our customer success manager does, quarterly business reviews with our really large customers and our big teams that have a lot of things moving on, we'll get on that call sometimes and we'll like dig in. If we send them an email, they'll be like, oh, everything's great. Da, da, da. And we dig in one of those QBRs and we start asking, okay, like, what are some things? And we really drill in and they start to say, well, this and this and this. And, and it's, well, whoa. Those things, you haven't said anything about those things because you find a way around them if you've been using the system for a long time. And you forget about usability because you figure out your workflow, but it doesn't mean it's efficient. So quite often we'll get in there, we'll talk to those customers and we'll be like, let's walk through your workflow and be like, you can totally change this architecture to cut out a couple steps, do it in half the time. And that's like reiteration of going back and verifying, because things, if your list has 10 items in it or has 10,000 items in it, saving a few seconds on every single item makes a huge difference. So you really do have to go back and look at it, and really relate to, is that usability holding up? And if a new person came in, would they feel that or not?